Hey guys, okay, lunch hour and the day goes on. Yes, I did go get a couple hours sleep. Unfortunately, Mrs. P is finally sleeping. She finally called it a morning because she never went to bed last night at about 9 o'clock. So let her get some rest for a while. But I wanted to see what the latest was on what's going on. And there's some interesting stuff that I think you guys need to be made aware of. Don't think this is just Russia, Ukraine, or even adding Belarus. Keep an eye on China here, and I'll explain why. Okay. Russian media came out mid morning here, mid morning for us, or the Russian government came out and warned all its media outlets and YouTubers, Twitterers, whatever they're called, pick a social media, to only use approved media or face prosecution. Now, what does that tell you? I mean, this goes back to Pravda and everything like that. You're only allowed to speak of what we tell you you can say. So the truth gets buried. Not that we're not used to that in the United States. Hell, it's the business plan for CNN and MSNBC. But you're going to have a lot of bloggers, a lot of YouTubers, whatever it is, who are either going to go silent or are going to only toe the party line, if you will. Now, you may have some that take a chance, okay? But you're probably going to see a very, very, very careful rhetoric coming out of them. And, obviously a lot of us here watch Constantine. I'm hoping he is careful, okay? Don't want to see him arrested or anything like that. But so what I said about China, now this gets interesting. We all know that China has pushed its ties with Russia a little bit closer lately, and is trying to, oil, coal, anything like that, trading between them, they're trying to get rid of, the US dollar as the intermediary. Well, there was a little piece of Chinese media, for anything else, that got mistakenly posted to the internet. It was quickly taken down, but not before some media watchers grabbed it real quick. Okay. China has come out and said, okay, and this is Horizon News, which is the video arm of the Beijing News. This is state-sponsored video or state-sponsored electronic communication rather than print. So this is what was come out. All right, their senior editor Ming Jinwei cautioned China to carefully handle relations with all parties involved to avoid inviting trouble, urging that China needs to, this is the media, okay, telling all his reporters, China needs to back Russia morally and emotionally, but without over-provoking America and the European Union. Now, why would they say something like this? China does not want to be seen as encouraging a country to try to take over another one. Why? Because that's their intent with Taiwan, okay? And so when you get into a situation where, we're going to be pro-Russian and anti-Western, but we're going to be very muted about it, it's because they don't want to tip their hand that they completely agree with what Russia's doing, because they want to do the same thing to Taiwan. So just watch carefully with China, okay? Now, China's got a lot of citizens in Ukraine as well, and this will give you another tip to it. The Chinese embassy in Ukraine And if you've seen the videos, and just you can go anywhere and find videos on all of this stuff right now. The Chinese embassy in Ukraine has advised Chinese nationals to either stay at home or display their Chinese flag prominently on their car if they're trying to leave Ukraine. Now, we've heard the stories about checkpoints and everything that the Russians are already setting up. You can see this. You're Ukraine, go that way. You're Chinese, go that way. Remind anybody of anything? If the troops are, obviously Putin's troops, ordered to let the Chinese pass, that tells you a lot about Chinese-Russian relations here, right? Okay. Now, the interesting part is the Russians aren't exactly Russian people. Okay, I will say this. And even Russian politicians aren't behind this. I mean, Putin has shown to be, like I said this morning, a madman. Okay, this makes no sense. I've given you my reasons logically for months. Okay, obviously Putin doesn't use logic anymore. Okay, but there have been more than a couple hundred municipal deputies from Moscow, St. Petersburg, Samara, Ryazan, other cities, signed an open letter to the people urging them not to take part in the war and not to stay silent. Okay, this is what they wrote. We, the deputies elected by the people, unreservedly condemn the attack of the Russian army on Ukraine. This is an unparalleled atrocity for which there is and cannot be justification. These are politicians, guys, in Russia. Okay. Now, we all know who Alexei Navalny is and, the whole story on him. So be it, okay? Navalny put a quote out today, obviously from his prison cell. I'm against this war. I think this war is designed to divert attention from Russia's problems, and it will only lead to greater impoverishment. Okay? I consider those who unleash this war to be bandits and thieves. I'd say that's pretty accurate, okay, at least from a Western point of view. Now, of course, the government of Russia, the Putin government, is on the flip side, okay? They have warned anti-war protesters, anti-war sympathizers from gathering for protests, okay? Quote, one should be aware of the negative legal consequences of these actions in the form of prosecution up to criminal liability. Now, we all know that the Russian Constitution is not the same as the U.S. Constitution. We kind of learned a little bit about the Canadian Constitution, which is a hell of a lot closer to the U.S. Constitution than the Russian one is. Okay, we saw what happened with the Canadian protests, which is kind of funny because you figured today the main topic of conversation was going to be on the convoy that started in the United States, right? Nowhere are you going to see anything, hear anything about that. That's like nothing. Okay. I don't know. Biden happy? Yeah, Biden probably is happy. Hey, there's war in Ukraine. It'll take off my the attention off of my debacles. But so Russia has flat out said, do not protest, and otherwise, plan on facing criminal liability or whatever. So I just thought I'd show you how well that went over with 3 quick videos here. All right. The first one's in Georgia. The second one's in St. Petersburg. And the third one is in Novosibirsk. This is all over the country, guys. The Russian people are not for this. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. You think Trudeau had problems with the people not wanting him? What's going to happen with Putin? The difference is, as far as I know, Trudeau's never executed his opponents. Prayers to everybody in Russia, prayers to everybody in Ukraine. But we'll see what else happens today. Pinball out.